First and foremost, just want to say thank you for watching each segment, getting to this part. Hopefully it's creating discussions at home. And for this third segment on fatherhood, it's going to tackle mental health. I feel like a lot of fathers don't get the chance to truly express how they feel. I know it's more advocated for in today's world, but there's a lot of things that still go unheard because of the ways that sacrificing goes in the household. We usually have to sacrifice in ways that compromise our mental health. So without further ado, I want to jump into this last segment.
So I want to ask this next question, but mix it up a little bit, go out of order a little bit, but I'll start with you, Jude. How do you express yourself at home in terms of your emotions, happiness, sad, angry? How do you express yourself at home?
I try not to give too much emotion, high or low, but at the end of the day, we're human, right? So those emotions tend to come out, but I do try to lean towards the softer side because I don't always want to snap at kids and, just show a negative light for myself, so.
Yeah, honestly, for me, the last 4 years of my life have been a struggle. My mom was fighting cancer for 4 years and then she passed. So that made me change who I was at home, I feel like, because I had a lot of stress. I'm the only one taking care of her, me and my wife, and that was a heavy burden on our relationship. Me and my wife always say we never had the cupcake phase of this is the happy times, sweet times. We didn't have none of that. It was work from day one. So that came into my home, and it was Lila felt a lot of that, a lot of just unhappiness. And I have been trying to work on our relationship and removing that part. So now I'm way happier. Now I'm more engaged with her and just more intentional about how we spend our time. So yeah.
I'm very transparent at home. Whatever I'm feeling, dealing with, not to an extent. You know what I mean? If I'm heartbroken, let's say, I won't show my daughter that, but I'm pretty transparent. And the reason why is that hopefully she becomes transparent with me. So I know our kids pick up a lot of our habits. So I try, and if anything, I'll tell Carmen, give me a minute or something like that. But I try to be very transparent at home.
I think ideally, I try my best to show all of my emotions to my children. One particular incident that I remember when George Floyd was murdered. And we were watching, all the coverage online, and I just broke down one day. And my daughter was like, "Daddy, why are you crying?" And my wife had said, because he feels sad that this is happening. And that was my first time crying. I'm talking about tears in front of my kids. And I felt like that was impactful for them, just to showcase I'm not just a stone cold dad. I have no emotions. But I tell you this, recently I've been struggling with this within my household because I've been going through a roller coaster of emotions recently. I lost my uncle at the beginning of this year. I'm dealing with, my career. I'm also dealing with, not being able to missing important moments within my children's lives because of my career. And it's just a roller coaster of emotions that I've been going through. So I'm actually trying right now to kind of figure out how I could cope with some of those emotions.
It's great. It's important to express yourself. I agree, and some of the things I think we struggle with, and certainly for myself, I think it is important to be transparent with your emotions. I think also they can pick up on things too. Sometimes when I get angry, I'm not always very expressive with it. I may shut down, and they can tell when something's wrong. And then, I will go into why I'm upset. I will express why I'm upset about something, what made me mad, or if I am, sad about something and I start to cry. I remember when my mom passed, I think that was 2018. So our sons were like, trying to do the math, like 15 and 12. And so, you know, they understood, but she had been sick for a while. So it hit me, but I also kind of knew it was going to happen. So they saw me sad, but not maybe to the extent they probably thought I would be. And I was, but I think maybe the breakdown came after, you know, with certainly like with death, they call it the stages of death and so on. I wasn't in denial because I knew, you know, what it was, but I think just the emotion of being sad really hit once, you know, we had the final services for her, and then I was like, you know, the absence of her completely, you know, I think that was one of those moments where they saw me at one of my saddest moments. This is a great question, because we're talking about me and men. Somebody said sticking their chest out before. What's your definition? We'll start with you, Francis. What's your definition of being soft?
I hate to do this, but I would use the same answer I answered with the other one, is I'm very transparent. I think as a man, sometimes our biggest struggle is letting someone in, because we can't take the same heartbreak that women can take on. I'm very picky when it comes to, you know, being that vulnerable. And with my daughter, I'm fully vulnerable. She knows me probably better than anyone else. So yeah, that's my version of being soft, is just completely letting her in.
Okay. Just pick up on Francis. I mean, he's giving great answers today, so.
Yeah.
Pretty sure
I didn't start off that
He's cooking.
No, but I think soft is vulnerability at the same time. It's just really showcasing how you feel towards something. I think as men, a lot of times we shut down, we're quiet. You know, if we're upset, we just keep it to ourselves. We don't feel like we have to show emotion a lot of the time. And I think that's what soft means to me, just being completely vulnerable. Being able to express how you feel, being able to accept, you know, how someone feels towards you as well, and being able to deal with it the right way.
Okay. I'm gonna skip you. Go ahead, Jude.
Being soft, I think earlier in the conversation I mentioned apology culture, like apologizing. Like I think that's being soft, right? That goes into the vulnerability thing, like, you know, admitting you're wrong, right? But then also from a physical touch aspect, like hugging my oldest son. I didn't get a lot of hugs from my strict dad growing up. Not to say he didn't love me, because he always said he loved me, but like getting those hugs are super important. And my son, now he like yesterday, for example, he gave me this super huge hug when he like saw me. Those things are being soft.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, y'all gave amazing answers. For me, being soft, I think I said earlier, is just being like a nice landing place for the family, being approachable. Like, you know, same thing you guys said, hard exterior. You know, you want your kids and your wife to be able to approach you and know that they can come to you with anything, and it won't be met with opposition, and it won't be met with judgment. Okay. You know, so that's why I look at being soft. What you gonna say, Francis?
I forgot. But it was something you said. It was something you said about the apologies, but
Yeah.
Big.
But something he did say, I do want to piggyback off also, the hugging aspect with your son. Man.
That's what it was.
Yo, that's deep, man.
Tough.
Because like my son now, like I kiss him, I hug him. He doesn't like it.
Yeah.
Like, he likes it from his mother. Like he hates it from me. Anytime I kiss him, he be like, get away from me. But I love doing it, man. Like I'll grab him up and I'll be like, come here, man. I just start kissing him. Like, I love it, man. I love showering him with just softness. Like that's what I feel like. I hate even saying softness, but I just like showering him with love. It shouldn't be considered soft. I love showering him with love, and I think that should be acceptable.
There you go.
Don't feel bad.
That's really what it is.
I don't get away with kissing my son either. He'll take a hug, but a kiss is like, you cross the line. I'm sorry to cut you off.
That's it.
All right, so I'm gonna come with a different aspect, different perspective with the left hook. I'm thinking soft, like punk.
Oh,
I'm thinking, because being a man and being a father, sometimes we don't like to show much of what we're talking about.
Right.
But I think there's also a piece where, for me, being soft is being a coward. And I say that not saying, I was taught never to start nothing, but, if you have to finish it, then you finish it. But I, never not talking about violence necessarily, but I'm just talking about any type of disagreement, anything like that. But being able to stand up for what I believe in and not back down from something, I think that's my definition of soft. Now, what you all said, I totally agree. And being a boy dad as well, I did that too. That was love, giving them kisses and all that stuff, hugs. But then, of course, when they get about 10, that's not cool anymore. So, you want to, then you got to find a line with like, okay, Dad, where you going with this? What's going on here? This is not what we see. You kiss mom, but why are you kissing me like that?
Tread lightly.
Exactly. So, and now they got all those, know all this and know that and all that, you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, pause.
Pause.
In our culture, right? Like, I don't want to get canceled, please.
Please. Right. That's why I didn't say nobody's,
But no, it's a part of our culture.
Exactly. So I think there's that piece. But I also heard, which was pointed out, Francis being vulnerable. And I think we all kind of expressed that. What does that, if there's anything else you want to share, was there anything else that you feel that looks like that you haven't mentioned already, like being vulnerable in front of your children, or in not necessarily even at home, but even like maybe if you're out at a game?
I got an answer for that. I think like recently this happened, like about every 2 weeks I buy flowers for my lady. And my son, he'll be there sometimes when I buy those flowers. And one day he's like, Dad, why do you buy flowers for Ashley? And I'm just like, because she likes it. Like, it shows love, and like that's an affection thing. But that's showing softness, because as a man, you don't, if you're trying to be macho, you're not necessarily going to buy flowers.
Right.
Yeah, but you want to kind of show him like, hey, this is okay to do. Like, if somebody loves something, like your partner, you should do it. Make them happy.
Anybody want to add to that? That's good.
Well, I need to start buying flowers for my lady every 2 weeks.
I try to keep
funny
up.
thing is, my daughter
guy.
is the reason why I buy flowers. Like, we used to go on these little walks, and naturally she just kept picking little flowers out of people's gardens or whatever. So it's like, oh, you like flowers? We got
There's lots of flowers.
Yeah. So I always buy flowers for my daughter. Always. So it's funny that you bring that up.
But vulnerability aspect of it is like really just, I think I'm like overly communicating with my family about how I feel about my day, to the point where they're like, oh my God. You know what I mean? But I feel like it's important for them to know exactly how I'm feeling at that time. Because as leaders, or however you are within your household, I think it's important that we all understand where we are within a specific moment, so we know how to operate with each other. It could be overly overwhelming if you're going through a lot, and your family doesn't know this, and then you kind of like snap at them, and they don't have any idea why you're snapping. So I think the vulnerability aspect of us being men, because a lot of times we just like to figure things out. Even if we're going through something that's tough, we like to be like, I'm just gonna tough it out, I'm gonna thug it out, whatever. Well, now, I think it's important when you do have a household, you have to let them know how you're feeling. Like, because my job is extremely stressful. Like, I'll come home one day and I'm on top of the cloud, and I'll come home another day I'm in the sewer. Like, and I don't know, and I'm just feeling really, really down. But I think it's important for me to express that to everyone within the house. So I think that's where the vulnerability aspect comes from it.
Okay, cool. I want to throw out a different question, all right? Because we're talking about Father's Day here. How do you all feel about, since we're talking about flowers and cards, how do you feel about Father's Day cards for mothers?
Father cards from my
Yeah, there's
Not flowers, just
no,
the card.
no, there's a card section in Father's Day.
There is?
There has been, for mothers who've been like fathers.
Wait, repeat the question.
So-
I'm thinking I'm
Right, so we're celebrating fathers. So how would you feel for a mother to get, or not even so much a card, but an acknowledgement for Father's Day?
That's
Are you picking?
It's a hot topic.
Who's gonna start it off?
I'm thinking through.
I'll go first.
Yeah.
I'll say this. If the mother is receiving it, I have no problem. Because how a child or a person may feel to a mother or father, because there's fathers that get Mother's Day
Absolutely.
cards and stuff like that. It's just not heard of or publicized. But if the child or whoever the loved one is the one buying it and that's just how they felt, I have no problem with that. Now, if the mother or father, whatever day it's on, is seeking it, that's where my annoyance comes in, where it's like,
You have an issue with that.
yeah, to an extent, because it's like, I've never valued people that look for recognition. That's always been a problem of mine. So even if we was to turn the conversation otherwise, anybody that seeks recognition, I feel like doesn't deserve it. People give you acknowledgement, you don't seek it. So to answer that, it's like, if there's a mother seeking acknowledgement on Father's Day, I have a problem. But if a child without a father wanted to celebrate their mother because their mother is the man and the mom, then I can understand that.
Okay. Anybody else want to jump into that deep water?
That one is
I'll
deep.
jump into it. I disagree with it. Me personally, I think Mother's Day is Mother's Day, Father's Day is Father's Day. That's just me personally. I think, like Francois said, I think Francis.
No, my nickname used to be Francois for years, so we good.
Sound more, but like Francis said, I believe, if a mother played the role of a father, I think that's amazing. But it's a mother playing the role of a mother. It's just a father that's a voided role within the household.
Right.
So I don't feel like the mother should be recognized for fatherhood. The mother should be recognized for being the amazing mother she is and holding down the household. So that's why I come with the recognition. When Father's Day comes and I see mothers out there like, hey, I'm the mother and father, I think that's kind of, wrong. That's seeking, affirmation. And I feel like that's totally wrong. So I'm personally against it. I think a mother is amazing. Like you should just be the mother. And that's just how it should be.
Absolutely.
I agree. I'll jump in real quick and say, there are mothers that play both roles.
Correct.
But at the same time, on the same hand, there are fathers that play both roles, right? I like to listen to podcasts, and one of them I listen to is something called Earn Your Leisure. Me and Kevin would talk about it off camera, right? One of the hosts, I think Rashad said it, like self-recognition is no recognition, right? You should get it from others. I think it's kind of a slap to the good fathers when people on social media, in this day and age where they're like, oh, I'm the mother and the father. Nobody's taking credit away from you as being an amazing parent, but don't take away from those good fathers who are there, every day, emotionally, physically, whatever it may be. Don't take away from them, because that's what you're doing when you kind of give that, oh, I'm the mother and the father. I deserve the Father's Day credit, so.
I guess I gotta put my foot in.
Go on the shallow end if you want.
So great answers. I think that I was the kid on Instagram, on Facebook, posting my mom on Father's Day. And thinking back on it, I definitely wouldn't do that now. Being a father, I wouldn't do that now. And thinking back on it, it's not about the person getting that type of attention or recognition. It's more about me, wanting a father.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So when I see people post it, and I'm not a psychiatrist, a therapist, or any of that. I look and I'm like, oh, you got daddy issues. Like, you need to resolve that within yourself, so that you're not looking to be like, yo, shout out to my moms for being my pops. Like, nah, you need to be like, yo, shout out to my moms for being my moms, because my mom's was an amazing mother, an amazing woman, and that's it. And like, it just needs to be left there. So I guess I don't agree with giving the cards. You know what I'm saying? That's my little tidbit. Like I said, put my toe in.
That's a. You want to say something else?
You got more?
Dang, it slipped that quick.
Sorry.
No, it's the fact. Dang, no, you go.
I did want to say something. I agree with Bryce, man. I think it's a lot of times it's trauma, because my mother, she was a single parent. You know what I mean? She was in the household, she took care of us, but she's my mother. So on Mother's Day, I'm going to double down on her. I'm going to get her 10 bouquets of flowers. I'm going to showcase why she was an amazing mother. But on Father's Day, I'm not going to do that for her, because she was not my father.
Right.
And that's just why I want to highlight. I don't want to take away what anyone experienced within their household.
Right.
Because a lot of times, we don't understand what somebody's going through within the household. So I never want to take that away. But I just want to go to the question. There are amazing fathers out there, and that day is designed for those amazing fathers, and we shouldn't take that day to kind of, traumatize it, because we've been traumatized, for those fathers. So I think that's important.
I will piggyback off everyone. We have to understand that this is only a certain amount of time that our household's been dealing with this. So there wasn't always a time, because people forget, there was a time Black fathers was in the household.
Yep.
So the thought of thinking your mom twice or thinking your dad twice never even existed. It's not until certain things happen in history to where someone would actually even think of, well, dang, I don't have my dad. Let me give my mom more credit. And how this panel is set up, these times will be gone again, where fathers are growing in sizes, right? And now you have someone to thank. We're not massively incarcerated anymore.
I'm saying, and Jack, real quick, that's a false narrative. It's like, even that you're saying like, oh, there was a time when Black father was in the household. Yes, mass incarceration was part of it, but I think that only affected a small group of people. Like, it affected those in more urban communities. But if you look at the vast nation of the United States of America, like, Black fathers are in the household way more than white fathers, way more than.
We're number one.
We're number one, regardless.
In or out?
In.
Okay.
Yeah.
But of course, us growing up in these urban populated areas, we get that, it seems heavier here. So they run with that narrative that the Black father is in the household. That's a lot. We are the number one father in the household.
We're number one helping with homework. We're the number one taking them on doctor visits. We're number one involved.
I think all that was shared was certainly enlightening, to hearing the different perspectives. I think I felt primarily in many ways like what Kevin said, as well as Jude. But I thank you both for also giving me another perspective, especially when you have it from the child, and then you even brought up your own experiences. And I say this, and you're talking about a time when men were in the home. So I again, looking to my father, he grew up, both of his parents were deceased by the time he was 9. So then he was raised by his aunt and her husband. 2 years later, he died. So he had just his aunt raise him. And one thing he always mentioned when he acknowledged her, he's like, she's always been like a mother to me. So he never denied his mother, who died when he was 9, but he never also said, and like a father, because she took on extra, responsibilities. And I think about that, but I think what we're talking about is more of a more recent time where there's been more of a feeling that some may want that acknowledgement because they've taken on that extra role, but that has been going on for longer than we actually may even think. Again, like I mentioned, this was going back to the 1940s with my father. So it's a very sensitive subject, but I think it's something that we should also be sensitive as men and black fathers who are involved, because I think it does definitely take away from our role, takes away, if you will, emasculates us in some way, and I think that it should be addressed at times, whether it's in this type of forum or others. But I think it's very unfair to see that when acknowledgement wanting to be acknowledged as both. Mm-hmm. I think it's unfair from the mother, if you will. Mm-hmm. What challenges do you worry about when raising your kids in today's world? What are some of the challenges you worry about?
For me, it's just the internet is just wild. It is a cesspool of just, I mean, it's great for information, right? We grew up in the information age, so it's great for information, but the amount of predators that are on there, the numbers is scary. And the stuff that they're doing with AI and the stuff that they're doing with taking your kids' faces and putting it on other people's bodies, and it's just sick. So protect your kids at all costs, put passwords on everything, monitor your kids, join them in games, understand the stuff that they're playing, understand the stuff that they're watching. A lot of messaging and a lot of this stuff that looks like cartoons, that's not cartoons. It's wild. So that is my fear. And my wife and I are being proactive and not reactive to a lot of these things that are happening.
I think my biggest fear is my kids growing up faster than I want them to grow up. I think with social media, or even society today, I think it's like forcing our kids to grow up way faster than they need to. They're exposed to way more than we were exposed to growing up. They see more than we saw growing up. So I think that's my biggest fear. And as a parent, you try to slow it down. Like, you try to put the passwords on, you try to limit the YouTube. I didn't even realize YouTube was gonna be that big of an issue with my kids.
YouTube was crazy.
And some of the things that I see my oldest daughter watching on YouTube, and now my youngest daughter, who looks at my oldest daughter, now wants to watch on YouTube too. So I had to cut YouTube from them and give them YouTube Kids. But then I had to look at YouTube Kids, and YouTube Kids is doing certain things as well. So I think they're exposed to just a lot now, man. They're learning so fast. It's really scary, but I think that's my biggest fear as a parent.
A lot of access, man.
Oh, man.
Too much.
It's just too easy.
Yep.
I think for me, I hate to piggyback. Great answers for sure from everyone, because I share in your same sentiment. It's the internet, man. Social media, YouTube,
TikTok.
It is, man. It's scary, to say the least, because you do see, your kids are growing up way faster than you did, and it's not even just what you allow your kids to watch, because even if you have a tight cap over them, right? What are their classmates talking about? What are their classmates introducing them to? Because I speak to my son, and I've heard my son say, well, my classmate said this, and they were talking about certain things like macaroni noises. These are the type of things that 9-year-olds are talking about, and that's because they're seeing it on social media or on YouTube or whatever it is.
Or at home.
Or at home, but I know for my home, we put a cap on things, right? We try not to do certain things in front of the kids. So it's the challenge is you can't control everything, and it's scary.
You just gotta make sure you're raising them right, man. That's scary, man.
It's still
That's
values.
scary, because you raise your child one way, but then they're going to school, they're learning from other kids, they're doing things when you're not there. I mean, you just have to make sure you're raising your child the right way, that they're staying respectful, and they have to understand what's right and what's wrong.
Yeah.
That's scary, though.
The value's taken a little way.
Jesus.
The value's taken a long way, like you said. If you instill those types of values in them, then you hope that they'll be able to discern, okay, this is not right, or this is right, and they'll be able to make that judgment. Because, if you think about, like you said, they're doing it younger, but the stuff that we did when we was younger was probably wild. You know what I'm saying? So it's you gotta just hope and just pray. You know, I'm a big prayer, so hope and pray and just be like, yo, God, you know, watch out.
Yeah,
Hold down.
I mean, we all did wild things when we were
Yeah.
young, but I think now it's
just
scary because
it's so early.
Yeah, there's things that we did when we was young you'll never find out about.
Yeah, that's a fact.
You know what I mean? But that's not the same for our kids.
Yeah.
There's things that they do right now that you'll know about later
Yeah.
on in life.
Yeah.
And that's what you kind of have to instill in them as well. So it's a lot of fears being a parent.
Kids having cell phones, for example, like
Yeah.
or having access to
My
iPads.
daughter wants
Yeah.
one now,
Yeah.
and I don't want to give it to her. I'm scared.
I get it.
I told
get
my
it.
daughter I got my first cell phone at 16. We'll get there.
And it's-
She's 11. She's like, she wants. I'm like, nah, it's done.
But it's also challenging because we're like the first generation of parents who gave their kids iPads at a certain age, right? Or gave them tablets at a certain age. Because when we were growing up, we didn't have tablets. We barely had computers in the classroom.
Yeah.
So like now to have your kids having, you know, this mobile device in their hands and they can see things and kind of mimic things that you probably don't want them to, it's a crazy.
That's probably one of my biggest mistakes as a parent.
Me too. Same.
The iPads, because when that first came out, is you're distracting them.
Yeah.
You want to distract them, and at that time it was a distraction, but I also wanted my kids to learn about technology at an early age. Because I thought it was dope that my son was 1 year old, but he knows where YouTube is, how to go to the page, what to type in, how to use Siri.
Yeah,
I thought that was kind of dope.
Little did you know.
Yeah, but then look what happened now. So it's like, yeah, we are those parents, and they're gonna grow up and be like, nah, I'm not giving my kid the iPad until they're like 12, 13.
It was a built-in babysitter for us, right?
Yeah.
Like you want to take time to cook a meal for them real quick. It's like, all
Child
right,
kids,
watch this happen.
$24,000 a year, man. That was cheap. Compared to it, so.
So I want to push back a little bit on that because I think we've had these problems, much like we were talking about some of the concerns with being, you know, the fathers in the home. I think things have evolved over time. We've seen similar issues in the past. It's just now that it's been rebranded. Like, because technology has always been a concern. Sending your kids off to school was always a concern because, yes, their peers are certainly the next group that they learn from, and their primary group that they learn from their time there in school into their young adults. But so I'll say this because I remember growing up talking about technology. You know, it was like you know, having a digital watch.
Yeah.
It was like rather than like, you know, the analog and because you wouldn't be able to tell time. Right? And you guys shared your age, and so I remember my niece when she was growing up, she had a laptop. She's the same age as y'all, and it was like a play laptop, right? And I remember also back in the day, you talk about the AI stuff. Remember, was it a Black or White with Michael Jackson? That video, they were transforming faces and all this other stuff. And now look at where we are now, right? So in my work, there's a person that I work with who has a daughter, and was concerned because the daughter had expressed that they were a lesbian. She's 9.
Wow. I thought his best friend is a lesbian, and she's 10.
Right. And that was the scene. That was the scenario. For the record, I'm not working with this young man. But these are real concerns. And I see even for my own sons, you know, growing up, they're, again, 21 and 19, and we had to monitor, like I knew we had to put controls, you know, everyone had I started setting up accounts for everybody, but I didn't realize that they would be that savvy on the computer, so we had a babysitter. And she's like, I want to talk to you for a second. I was like, well, what happened? Well, your son was kind of on the internet. I was like, okay, well, what happened? The peers told him, why don't you look up so-and-so nude, these different celebrities, so-and-so nude, and whoever came up, because it wasn't the celebrity, but they came up and it was like, whew, it opened up his whole world to something else. And then we had to learn to put the controls on. We had to make sure we monitored the cell phone use. They all asked for it. Peer pressure, again, middle school is prime. Prime, because that's when, and then that came out of the whole 9/11 kind of scare when, you know, they couldn't reach your daughters and your children when there was all that going on. And so I think that had just kind of evolved. So again, it's the same issues, but as parents, you do have to, and the last thing I was gonna say about that, again, we talk about their peers, I think it was important for me to also know who their parents are, right?
Very important.
That's one
for us,
thing.
yep.
And then also what I used to do, I was like, who would you eat lunch with today?
Yeah, I learned that one. Like
So-
instead of asking like, "How was your day?"
Yeah.
It's like, "Who'd you lunch with today?"
Yeah.
What'd you guys talk about? Like,
Yeah.
I've been doing arranged friendships with my kids.
arranged friendships.
Yes.
Okay.
So, what you said is 1,000% true. You know, we've heard of arranged marriages, but arranged friendships is if I have a friend who has a child within the same age range as my child, I try my best to connect them at an early age. So they could grow up and have that friendship, because what happens is I already know the parents. I have a relationship with the parents. If something happens to my child in the teenage years, and maybe the child doesn't want to communicate that with me, maybe the friend will tell the parent and the parent will get back to me. So I try my best now to, hey, you have your son that's 3 years old, I got a son that's 3 years old, let's meet up at the park. Let's go to the zoo, let's go to the museum, let's just click up so they can know each other, so then they'll grow up and, you know, potentially be friends. So I've been doing a lot of that recently.
I gotta start that. Me growing up, I always did that with, like, I have a niece. My daughter and them is 6 months apart. I have another cousin, their daughter is 6 months apart. So I always did that with family members, but I'm gonna
Do
definitely...
it with your boys, man.
So I'm a Yankee, right? And so,
Yes, a Yankee.
Yankee. So, similar. We have friends, and they have cousins.
Right.
And that's who they grew up with, much to what you were saying. And to this day, you know, two of our friends, actually, we used to go on vacations together. We used to do things with our children. They're all in the same age group. And even now, two of them go to the same college together. And so they look out for each other, you know, and I think that was really a strong benefit for that. So, yeah, I think that arranged friendships is, I'm for that, you know, especially if you have people that you connect with, you vibe with, or whoever, and they have children the same age. And you know how they raise their family. You know, you would eat at their house, kind of thing. You know, so I think that might be something to explore further, for sure.
What you guys took from this conversation?
Arranged friendships.
That's a really good one.
That's a great one.
Friendships.
It's you know, how do you? So for me, my daughter is 1, and my other one's 11. So and I have friends that have kids, but they're just like the ages don't match. So like, how do you like overcome that?
Well, you meet people. I met you guys today.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I know that you have an 11-year-old daughter. I have a 10-year-old daughter.
Right.
That's
That
some way
is.
that they connect. So
Yeah.
I think when you get to meet people during this journey of fatherhood,
Yeah.
that we could kind of connect more. Like I know in Brooklyn, like there's this dope dude in Brooklyn, like he does like a Brooklyn stroller club or something like that. Yeah, but I think there needs to be more like that. There needs to be like, I'm thinking about starting one in the Bronx. Like we just have a group of dads. Like I have the organization with my friends, the Dad Gang, but that's more nationwide. But just in your local community, our kids go to the same schools. Our kids utilize the same parks, libraries. It's important for them to grow up together. So in case there's any issues or anything, you know what I mean, they'll get to know each other. It doesn't blow out of proportion. Growing up, you know, we had issues with people from different neighborhoods. I don't want that for none of my kids. I want my kids to know people from Brooklyn, Queens, different parts of the Bronx, and I think it's important. But to answer your question, as you get to meet people and you be like, hey, I like this person. I like the type of, you know, person he is. So I'm assuming that he has a great household. I want to bring my kids around his kids. I think that's important. So just connecting with like new people that you meet with as well.
I think that's a great suggestion because also I remember growing up, when my kids were growing up, I should say, I used to take them to the park. And, you know, being a dad and one of the few dads there, you know, meeting the other parents. And I met, I remember meeting one particular mother who I didn't know her, but she knew my wife. And so then like our kids, you know, this was before they started school. And then when they got to school, they knew each other. And then, you know, so it was kind of like that networking connection thing that you're talking about. So I think the parks are always, especially when you got the young children, connecting with families there, because they, kids want to play with whomever, right? So of course you watch them, but then you get to see who their parents are, how they're watching them, right? So you get kind of like you're assessing the whole situation, and if that's the type of person you want to connect with or not.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you can't stop who your kids become friends with. The other day, I picked up my daughter, and it was a girl. She was like, "Hey, twin." And I looked at the girl. I'm like, "Oh God." You look a little rough over there. But it's all right, you know what I mean? But you can't stop who your kids become friends with. So it's important. Like, even if you do see them become friends with somebody, get to know their parents. I think that is important for you to do. And we have public spaces here, libraries, the schools, pools, parks. Utilize those spaces to get to know more parents.
Definitely, and you can't control who your friends, your children become friends with, but there's PG, parental guidance.
Yes,
for sure.
Definitely stealing. What did I say I was gonna steal from you? Oh, you can say what you want, but just say it respectfully. Great friendships.
But what I got from this conversation is therapy. I needed this, man. I felt like I was failing in fatherhood, to be honest, recently. Just because I felt like I wasn't always present, just because my emotions were going, through a roller coaster. And I don't have this opportunity just to talk to, a group of men just about father, strictly about father, and the conversation didn't go into the playoffs or rapping or anything like that. So I got therapy from this conversation. So I just want to say thank you to you brothers for giving me the opportunity to get this therapeutic session with you guys.
Definitely.
for sure.
I enjoyed this. I enjoyed this thoroughly, for sure. Because hearing, everybody has different walks of life. We're all coming from different backgrounds, and just hearing, these guys can sometimes go through the same kind of struggles I'm going through. It's definitely heartwarming, for sure.
For me, therapy for sure. I think that, fatherhood has a lot of challenges. To be able to express that and to think differently, it kind of helps you through that. Also, I'm definitely taking a lot of advice, because as I've never done the 1 to 6 thing, right? I've done the 7 to 11 thing. So now having a child go from 1 to 6, like hearing your guys' experiences, I'm like, okay, that's what I could do that. Or I'm gonna look out for this. It's definitely helped a bunch.
She's gonna say Dada first.
She did. Oh, she took it. It's crazy. My mom just passed, and we were in my mom's house, and I was there with my wife and Emery. And she just looked at me and said, "Dada," in my mom's house. So of course I'm bawling. I'm in there crying my eyes out, like, you know what I'm saying? But yeah,
Happy Father's Day.
100%. That's a fact.
Absolutely. So I think that's really what this platform was for, so that we can connect through our shared experiences, and also be of help not only to each other, but hopefully whoever else might be watching this or hearing this and say, you know what, I can identify with that. So. And it's real talk.
For everybody that watched and stuck around through the first 3 segments, to have the conversations at home, at work, wherever it may be, maybe it's with your parents, maybe it's with your kids. We appreciate you. The whole point of this channel is to highlight certain subjects that's not highlighted enough, spoken upon, advocated for enough in the Black community. And we're gonna keep going. So thank you again, and we'll see y'all soon.